So I'm here to talk about the Diddy case. Let's just go over the basic information. He is not a sex trafficker, not guilty. No racketeering in the RICO. How surprising. Not guilty. Transportation to engage in prostitution. Guilty on 2 counts. So this is Diddy's lawyer in court. He says he is no longer charged with sex trafficking or racketeering. His plane has been chartered. It's in Maui. He does not have access to his plane. This is his first conviction, and it is a prostitution offense. He should be released. His lawyer then also says his family is here and could sign a bond. He should be released today to go back and live at a 2-star island. The judge says, this is coming up right now. I will hear from the government in a moment. Are you proposing he just walk outside now? The answer was yes. I'm not sure if I said this, but it is 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as I'm making this. So they should correspond and let his lawyer know if they're letting him free today or whatever the case is. But he's not getting 30 years, 20 years, 10 years, 5 years for no prostitution charges. So this is the point where I get into all my thoughts about this case. To me, this was a public humiliation ritual, honestly. Some people are saying, oh, the verdict was a distraction because of the bill that's getting signed today. Those people are fucking stupid. That bill has been getting talked about for weeks. You either pay attention to politics or you don't. Like this distraction shit, I could understand it in some cases, but if we're not even gonna go that deep because that's not what the video is about. All we found out from this case, and me and a lot of my close friends said it the first week, like all that's really going on is some freaky shit. We can't really point to a racketeering or sex trafficking crime as far as the stuff that they were saying in the first week and just throughout the case. But in the first week, we made this determination. What I said was they gotta have some damning evidence, something that we have not heard yet as far as the public, something that is going to take him up top. Man, Teray's goofy ass, he was embellishing and lying through the whole trial as far as his coverage. So a lot of people were going with him. He's a fucking goofball. And he was just so certain that Diddy is going down. He was talking about necrophilia and shit like that. A lot of women and just people in general were talking about, oh, look at what he did to Kim Porter. Kim Porter didn't really come up in the trial as far as her murder or anything like that. And it's just like we mentioned in the first week. All we're really seeing is that he's a freaky dude, possibly an abuser. But even then, you could kind of throw that out the window with how willing of a participant Cassie was in the whole thing. And people like to try and do all this Stockholm syndrome shit, man. She was a manipulator. She was talking about she wanted to kill somebody because of that freak off footage. She was manipulating other men. But since women like to back other women, that's number one. And number two, they identify with victims. And number three, they really wanted to paint her as a victim, which, let's be clear, when it comes to domestic violence specifically, she is a victim. I also do think that there was some sense of intimidation to some extent. But the thing that you have to look at is she broke free from him and started a new family and he moved on. And I'm not even going deep on that because we done talked about that a million times as far as all the Cassie shit. But what it really boils down to as far as her moving this whole play is really that Carisha got way more in just a small amount of time from Diddy than Cassie did in the whole 9-year relationship that they had. So she was salty about that, and that's what initiated this whole thing as far as her pushing the lawsuits and then the barrage of lawsuits and then this Frico case that they built on nothing. They built this shit on nothing. And when you think about it, who do you think this is more embarrassing for, the feds or Diddy? I think it goes without saying that Diddy is, regardless what your answer is to that, he is embarrassed, on a insane level. Because it's like, yeah, you're not guilty of sex trafficking, but now we know about the freak offs. Now we know that you had an unlimited baby oil supply. Now we know that you had Cassie transferring semen from one room to another. Now we know that you like to watch, men fuck your girls. Now we just know just about your freaky ass life. That's it. And that's really all of nobody gives a fuck about serial scratched off guns. Like where are the bodies on those guns? Guess what? There are none. There are none. But the one thing I just want to go back and highlight real quick is just a lot of the emotionalism around what was going on in the trial. Just when you say certain things, like I mentioned before, it's really mostly women, but you got some cuck dudes who will come out and say, "Oh, so you a legal professional now? Oh, so you know more than the lawyers now? Oh, you know more than the feds. The feds got a 95% for conviction rate. They got a and listen, guess what? That prostitution conviction is gonna go towards their 95%. That's gonna go towards their 95%. But those other things, and I don't know how they calculate the case or how they tally up the case. If cats beat certain charges, they beat the RICO or whatever. Cause like he got convicted for one charge. So technically being that it's a RICO case, you could say the feds won, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how they would tally that. But he beat the racketeering and he beat the sex trafficking. And he's not gonna be in a cell for 10 years, 5 years, none of that. So it's like, really, in reality, we know he beat the case. He beat the feds. But they lost the plot as far as a lot of the women and some of the, cuck dudes and stuff like that who just really wanted to appeal to women. They lost the plot because this isn't a domestic violence case. If it was a domestic violence case, it would be foolish for the feds to pick it. Like the state could just pick that up. They could pick if they really felt like pursuing that, the state could have picked that up. And he would have been convicted. He was caught in 4K. This is not a domestic violence case. This is not an abuse case. This is not he was, manipulating her and grooming her since she was 17, which is not true. Which is not true at all. This nigga did not meet her while she was underage. So let's just throw that out the fucking window. Ryan Leslie was with her before, and he met her when she was 18. He met her when she was 18. Diddy met her when she was 19. But what women like to do, they like to take, we could do OnlyFans and da-da-da-da-da, all this stuff, and we grown. But when it comes to 19-year-old, we like to infantilize them. I don't know what a fucking word. I don't know how to say the word. I'm keeping that shit into infantilizing. They like to infantilize, these women like, oh, she's still a baby. She's still a child. She's still a kid. Like, she's fucking 19. She's grown. She's a legal adult. And the only reason I have to say that is because when you try to do that and you're trying to make him look like a pedophile. That's number one, which is not the case. And number two, you're trying to make it seem like she just has no control and she's so innocent and she's a child. Like, that's what you're trying to make it seem like. She's literally not a child. And they're trying to go with the grooming thing, but grooming is when you meet an underage woman, right? As an adult, and you have a relationship with her and you nurture that relationship until she comes of age, and then boom, that's what grooming is. That's not what Diddy did. So it's like, it's just a lot of emotional, dishonest shit when it comes to a lot of these Diddy narratives. And the thing about it, this is the craziest thing. You don't gotta be dishonest. The nigga beat her on camera. The nigga beat her on camera. We could just go with that and just look at that as the facts. But then when we get to this case and we look at all the shit that Cassie had going on, like, the perception changes after all these years. Because this is not what the feds are saying. This is not what the defense or the prosecutors are saying. This is what's coming out of Cassie's mouth. And these are Cassie's texts, et cetera, et cetera. So going back to the point, we get caught up And so much of that emotional shit that it's like you're failing to realize that the Fed's job here is to prove that he is sex trafficking, meaning forcing men or women to have sex for money or not with other people. There has to be an element of force, and there has to be an element of other people engaging in this sex, whether he's having people come in to do it or he's having people pay to come in to do it. Not paying them. Not paying them. That's different. You're a John. You're not a sex trafficker. You're a John. That's how come he got the prostitution charge, because that's what's actually going on. He didn't get the sex trafficking charge because he's not a fucking pimp. Nothing about this says sex trafficker or pimp. Nothing about this. And again, because I know some of y'all are unfamiliar with the content. When you think of sex trafficking, if you ask people what that looks like, or you ask them what they think of when they hear that, you think of kidnapping, you think of white van kidnapping unsuspecting people, taking them to a unfamiliar place far away from where they live, a lot of sedation, having them locked up somewhere, and then forcing them to have sex with other men, possibly on some black market stuff, who are paying for this sex. That's what you typically think of as far as the worst case scenario, and just typically what people think of when they think sex trafficking. When you think sex trafficking, you don't think a pimp, that is messing with hoes that willingly want to hoe for that pimp. And they could walk away, and he's telling them, like, if you don't want to do this shit, you could go do it. That's not what people think of. But pimps do get charged for it. They get charged the same as the kidnappers. Now, all of that is neither here nor there. I just have to paint a picture of what human trafficking looks like as far as what most people think. And then, the people who actually get charged the most is the pimps. So when you look at that, that's what it is. Nothing about this case is pimping. Nothing about this case is human trafficking. Where are the Johns at in this situation? I seen one of the dumbest motherfuckers say some shit like, I seen two people say some stupid ass shit. Number one, the first person said was, I respect Diddy for not throwing anybody under the bus. Who the fuck could he throw under the bus? Who the fuck could he throw under the bus? Like, the feds want him. The feds want him. He's not a real criminal. He's not running a real criminal enterprise. He's not really tied in with a bunch of gangsters. That's not, it would have came out in this case if that was the case. So he doesn't have, like Sammy the Bull or one of those guys like, okay, I know somebody else's crimes. I could tell you about a bunch of other people's crimes. He can't do that. Who is he going to throw under the bus during this? Second thing about that is he didn't take the fucking stand during the case, just like Tory. So when is he going to have an opportunity to throw somebody under the bus? So that's the thing. But this is the other thing. The other stupid thing I seen somebody say. Oh man, yeah, the feds, they realize there's so many powerful people at the fucking Diddy parties and more powerful. But this motherfucker is not Epstein. He is just a freaky ass multimillionaire. He is not Epstein, bro. He is not fucking Epstein. He doesn't have children on an island. He's not funneling celebrities on a flight list. This is not Epstein, bro. Niggas is flat out fucking stupid, just didn't follow the case at all, just making up the stupidest fucking shit. The feds didn't realize shit. This came down to a fucking jury. Do you think the courts are that corrupt to where they could be in the middle of a case, a Fed case, a high profile Fed case, and then realize something like, oh shit, Jeff Bezos was at the freak offs? And then just have the jury get like, Like, just throw the case. Like, are you fucking dumb? Are you fucking dumb? Like motherfuckers is just brain dead fucking stupid. Dog, if it was really that, if it was really some like, oh, these motherfuckers are so powerful that us, the feds, we don't want to, convict Diddy or throw these people under the bus and put it, they would have dismissed the case. They would have known that before they went to fucking trial. But the fact that I even got to break down any of this, it's like a lot of people is fucking brain dead. So the thing that I'm highlighting is, when it comes to the Diddy case, it is what it is. We talked about that, but I think a lot of my like just gripe around this shit is just the discourse around the fucking case and how many stupid fucking people there are out here. But that's all for today, man. Let me know your thoughts. I'm gone.